In part 1, I mentioned that a patent is a negative right and not a positive right, and I intended to explain that particular point in that lecture only. However, that video was already quite long, so I decided to continue in this second part. First of all, I am going to presume that you have already gone through part 1 and are already familiar with the basics relating to patents. So in this lecture, I'm going to begin right away with the explanation of why a patent is a negative right and not a positive one. Once again, instead of reading out any theoretical definitions, I'm going to provide you with an example straight away. This time we have Jack and Jill in the story, and please don't confuse the example that I gave in the previous video, which was about Tom and Jerry, because the facts might seem similar, but please notice that there is a difference between this story and that story. And of course, each story is addressing a different point altogether. Okay, so like I said, this time we have Jack and Jill in the story. So let's say that at some point in 2019, Jack invents a mobile phone for the first time ever. Once again, let's presume that we're living in a world where there are no mobile phones as yet, and Jack is the very first person ever to invent a mobile phone in 2019. Let us further presume that Jack has applied for a patent with regard to his invention, and that he successfully obtains a patent with regard to the mobile phone. And of course, patent applications take a long time to be processed and granted. So let's presume that somewhere towards the end of 2020 or perhaps towards the beginning of 2021, his application is granted. So in short, we can see clearly that Jack now has a right to prevent others from making use of his patented invention. So as long as Jack has the patent, then he can prevent others from making mobile phones because he alone has been granted the patent to make a mobile phone. Now obviously, to the extent that he obviously can go ahead and exploit the invention that he has come up with by monopolizing in the industry as the only person who is manufacturing mobile phones. So you might think that patent is also a positive right because it is allowing you to do whatever you want with your invention, right? Well, the answer is not so straightforward. Let's continue with the story to see why it's not absolutely correct to say that a patent is a positive right. But one thing that we are certainly clear about is that a patent is definitely a negative right because Jack now does have the right to prevent others from using his patented invention. That is, nobody else can manufacture mobile phones while Jack has the patent. So this ability to exclude others from using your patented invention or exploiting the invention that you have come up with is basically what we mean to say when we say that a patent is a negative right. But because of the fact that a patent is essentially a negative right only, patents are usually not considered as granting any positive rights on the owner of the patent. So once Jill enters into the story, we will be able to see why a patent is not necessarily a positive right. Okay, let's say that Jill enters the story now. Now let's say that Jill is inspired by this mobile phone that Jack has invented, and she explores further, and her research helps her to create a mobile phone that is even better than Jack's mobile phone. Let's say that Jack's mobile phone doesn't have a camera. So it's just a very simple version of a mobile phone using which you can send and receive text messages and of course call people. But it doesn't even have a camera. Now Jill has come up with a better version of a mobile phone that does have a camera. And obviously that's a huge improvement on the version of the mobile phone that Jack had invented. So when Jill approaches the patent office in order to obtain a patent for her invention, that is the addition of the camera to the previous version of the mobile phone without a camera, the patent office is going to run a search and is going to find out that Jack already has a patent with regard to mobile phones, and that patent has not yet expired. However, Jill's version of a new mobile phone with the camera is obviously a major development. And since she is the one who has come up with this invention, that is the addition of a camera to the mobile phone, so she is successful in obtaining a patent for her invention. That is basically an inventive step in improving the version of the mobile phone that Jack had initially invented. Now this is where the story gets interesting. Jill is not going to be able to start manufacturing mobile phones with cameras just because she has been successful in obtaining the patent with regard to her invention. And this is what I meant to say when I said that a patent is simply a negative right because it helps to exclude others from using the patented invention while your term of protection is still active, that is, your term has not yet expired. But it's not necessarily a positive right. So whenever a patent is simply an improvement patent that covers an improvement to an existing product. So for example, in our situation, Jill's new mobile phone with the camera is an improved version of the mobile phone that Jack had invented. So this is an improvement patent because it's an improvement to an existing product, that is Jack's mobile phone. But as long as Jack's patent has not expired, Jill is not going to be able to start manufacturing mobile phones with cameras, because Jack has the right to stop Jill from doing so as long as his own patent has not yet expired. So therefore, Jill, who is the owner of the improvement patent, cannot actually practice her own patented invention. And I really hope that you are clear about why Jill cannot actually practice her own patented invention. Well, the reason is pretty simple. Because her product improves upon another product that still has an unexpired patent attached to it. So in order to make the improved version of the mobile phone, Jill will first have to make use of the same basic steps which Jack used in order to make the simple version of the mobile phone, and then build upon those same steps in order to come up with the improved version. So to put it very simply, let's say that Jack has completed steps 1 and 2 and the mobile phone is ready. That is, the simple version is ready with step 1 and step 2. Now when Jill adds a camera, she obviously has to go through steps 1 and 2 and then add another step to it in order to come up with the improved version. So Jill has added step 3 to the entire process. So to that extent, step 3 is definitely Jill's invention and not Jack's invention. But in order to make a mobile phone with a camera, Jill will first and foremost have to go through steps 1 and 2, and like we already know, steps 1 and 2 are Jack's patented invention. So this means that Jack is going to be able to stop Jill from manufacturing mobile phones with cameras as long as his patent does not expire. And all that Jill can do with her patent is that she can stop Jack from making an improved version of the mobile phone and selling it. So once Jack gets to know about Jill's improved version of the mobile phone, that is the mobile phone with the camera, he is not going to be able to start manufacturing mobile phones with cameras because Jill is the one who has the patent for that particular step. So this is why the owner of an improvement patent cannot always practice his own patented invention, which is why a patent does not guarantee the right of the patentee himself or herself to practice the patented invention. And this is why a patent is not an affirmative or positive right but only a negative one.